Hi, Jamie. So
Hi, Devika.
to introduce everyone, this is Jamie. Hi, and we've known each other for over 4 years now. She's been with me right from the time when I was not even a copywriter. I was just exploring how to be a freelancer, how to be anything in the freelancing world, and we've known each other since then. So we have a long way. I mean, we go back
We
a
go way back.
lot.
I love it. We go way back.
Yes, more than 4 years. So many memories.
Yeah.
And the plus point is it's not we're just not friends. We've also worked together. Has been part of Build Your Fan Club. I've been part of her coaching programs, which is why I invited her for this interview today, because I felt she's perfect to tell everyone who's watching this video how Build Your Fan Club really is, and who is it right for. What decisions should you make before joining Build Your Fan Club, because she's seen both the in and out, the making of Build Your Fan Club, been in it as a student herself, been my one-on-one done for you copywriting client, been my friend, also coached me on my business, so many things. So someone who has that seen me as the creator of Build Your Fan Club, the program itself from so many angles. I think there's no one better than her to show you, tell you, explain to you what really Build Your Fan Club is and how you can choose for yourself if this program is the right one for you. So tell me, Jamie, anything about you that you would want our viewers to know.
You did a perfect job. I don't know that I could add anything to that. I guess the only thing that I would add is just how I think you said friends, but I honestly think that it's also like a collaborative. We've been very collaborative over the years. I know we've had many conversations back and forth about what do you think of this and what do you think of this, and I think we all need that in our business. And I know, that's one of the reasons why I love what you're doing with Build Your Fan Club, is that you sort of become that for the people that you take them under your wing, so to speak, and you're an advisor to them in all of these great spaces. So I know I have appreciated that in our relationship as well.
What do you do, Jamie? Can you help our audience know
Yeah.
more about you?
Well, I'm kind of, how do you always say it? It's not multipreneur because I only have the one business. Multifaceted. Is that the right word? Yeah. So multi what?
Dimensional.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, for sure. So I started when you and I first met. It was pre-pandemic, right? Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was right before the pandemic. Yeah. And I was doing public speaking coaching. And then when the pandemic hit, it just, nobody was doing events and it all went virtual. And so I pivoted my business like so many do. And I thought, well, what's close to that? And I started doing video coaching. And now I was just telling Devika before we started recording, this past summer, every single one of my one-on-one clients, I had 15 of them over the summer. None of them wanted help with video. They all wanted help with their business, with their Facebook group, with their challenges, with everything else. So I'm sort of in the middle of another pivot and just trying to pull that, into the same space. But I think, at my core, what I love doing is helping people find their message and be able to convey their message in a way that people can receive and hear it. So yeah, I'm a video coach at heart, and I always will be one. I'm just dabbling in some other places, Devika.
You are a coach at your heart.
Yes.
You are a true coach because you care so much about people. And I feel every successful coach is successful because they really care about their people. They know their people, they understand them, they accept them, and then they're always there for them, which you are. And that's the kind of that this is the intention that Build Your Fan Club is also based upon, where I want to invite more coaches who come from the same principles as you do. Even though you make edits and pivots, edits, or changes in your business, that's always evolving because you are evolving as a coach, as a person.
Right.
And that's important for every coach to do. Even Tony Robbins started as a public speaking coach. Not many people know about it. Then he went into writing. I think he was dabbling into writing. And then now we know who he is, personal development.
Yeah.
Because he evolved as a coach, he evolved as a person, he started to change his business accordingly. And that's really important. And this is where the brand messaging part comes in, which Build Your Fan Club. So I want to invite more people, more coaches into Build Your Fan Club who come from the same principle that Jamie just spoke about, multi-dimensional, multifaceted, and you're always being open to exploring that. So I love that about you, Jamie. I love many things about you, but this is one of the main things.
Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to stay still, right? The other day I did a video in my group and I talked about the original cell phones. You remember when cell phones first came out and they were a bag phone and it was like this brick and they were super heavy. I mean, it was just, and so now look, I mean, now I can talk to you on my watch. Like that is a perfect example of how we all need to grow and develop and pivot and adjust. And whether it's changes to your business or in just how you operate, it's so important.
Yeah, definitely. Jamie, would you like to tell me why you joined Build Your Fan Club in 2021? Because that time I was writing your email copy. You hired me to write your email copies, and then I started to promote my program alongside. And you felt called to join Build Your Fan Club,
Yeah.
which is still an honor for me. And I wanted to share what was your intention behind doing that.
Yeah, I think it was, I mean, this probably comes from two different perspectives. One, as much as I love you, Devika, it's expensive to hire somebody to write every single one of your emails. You start adding that up, that's a lot of dollars, right? And I think I had this thing in my head, and I remember we've had many conversations about that. I'm not a writer. I can't write. And that's not just simply untrue. You can learn to be a great copywriter. Are you ever going to become a freelance copywriter for others? No, but you can write your own content. And so I think the decision to join was, if I trust you to write my content, write my emails, I should trust you to teach me how to be an effective writer myself. And it was a skill that I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have the how do I do this? How do I assemble an email? How do I tell stories? Well, the stories I can, and small tangent, storytelling. When I talk about storytelling, I'm talking about how do you tell stories when you're on video? It's different when you're telling stories in a written format. And I was like, I don't know how to switch. I don't know how to get there. I know how to do this really well in videos, but how do I pull it out in my emails? And so I think I found that I needed help. I needed a coach. I needed somebody to show me the way. And I needed a program that wasn't just cookie cutter. You can go out and buy templates of emails, but they're not going to be you. They're not going to sound like you. They're not going to feel like you. And so it's so important. And I think one of the things I love so much about Build Your Fan Club is that it's not just here's how you write copy. It's let's first start and talk about who your audience is and what are the right values. It's all of those pieces. And so I just feel like it was so well-rounded in its core, in its essence, because you can't write copy if you don't first understand those things. And I think it very much mirrors some of the space that I play in with videos. It's a different medium. And so for me, it really resonated. And so that's why I joined.
Oh.
And you're awesome. Who doesn't want to spend more time with you? So I had that extra benefit too.
That's because you're awesome, Jamie. I felt so touched by what you just said. And it is true that I do start my program with audience research. It's very important for me. I think nothing can be done in the online space or in your business if you don't know who you're targeting or
Right.
who you want to invite. Even here, when I'm talking with you, I know the kind of people I want to invite into Build Your Fan Club. I want more Jamies. I want more coaches who come from similar principles, similar ideology like Jamie, who really care about their clients and want to be authentic in their storytelling, their copywriting to attract the right kind of people, which you do. And those are the kind of coaches I want to invite. And I think that is the foundation of everything, which is why this time we are having an upgraded, a revised module of just for audience research, a very in-depth research for just your audience and how to convert your untapped audience.
Love that. Ooh, awesome. It sounds fantastic.
Yes. So my next question to you is, when you did I remember you saying when you were in Build Your Fan Club because in Build Your Fan Club, we do start from the basics, but then we touch into the intermediate, the advanced level. Soon into like 3 to 4 weeks, we get into the advanced level. For someone like you who's already seasoned, you already knew the basics. But then when you went through the modules in Build Your Fan Club, which seemed basic, but then it gave you some ideas. I can't recall completely right now on the call. I was able to articulate it a few minutes ago, but right now I'm forgetting what you said. But I do remember something around you refreshing your memory around the basics and giving, unblocking that creative channel for you. Would you want to say something more about that?
Yeah, I think, oftentimes as coaches, sometimes we can take this approach of, well, I already know that. I already know that. I already know that. Well, it's one thing to know it. It's a whole other thing that you're actually living it and applying it, right? It's one thing to consume content. It's something else to have it as part of your daily work practice. And I think going through the basics, going back to the basics is almost like do I have this as solid as it needs to be? Do I have my foundation solid? Because oftentimes, if the business isn't working out well, I think we so often are we wanting some magic secret sauce, like who's got the magic pill or the magic wand, or what is the one missing thing that's missing from my business? Often that's not what's missing. What's missing is you maybe don't have a solid foundation. And so, well, you can sit there and say, I already know some of this stuff. I would encourage anybody who's considering embrace that going back to the basics. Make sure it's as solid as you think it is. It can only reinforce what you've already got. And I know for me, yes, I knew a lot of those things, but I hadn't applied them. I wasn't using them all the way through as deep as I needed to. And also, I think sometimes, I know for me, it's like you open up something in you, a portal, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden you're flooded with ideas and downloads. And sometimes going back to the basics helps you remember, oh yeah, I remember who I'm wanting to attract. I remember that, because we can get so stuck on repeat and we just keep recommunicating in the same way over and over and over again because it worked. But if we're not evolving our message, we get stuck, we get left behind. And so for me, that back to the basics was about, yes, refreshing and checking in with myself and saying, am I doing all of these things? But also it was like, what maybe have I forgotten? Maybe what have I missed? And I remember doing a post in your group way back when going, oh my gosh, the amount of downloads and ideas I've just had, this is awesome. And that'll happen for you as well. If you just, instead of fighting against I already know this part, embrace it and be like, what additional things can I learn? It's kind of like at the holidays, right? You rewatch your same movies. You rewatch the same, and every time you rewatch it, you're like, oh, or I forgot about this, or I catch something in a scene that I didn't see the first time I watched it, right? Some of you probably have watched the same holiday movie 20 years in a row. Why? Because it's good. It feels good. It makes you remember things. It makes you feel things. And I think going back to the basics will do that as well. And like you said, it's not a whole course of back to the basics. It's just a couple of modules. But don't embrace that rather than resist it.
That's so beautiful. And Lion King always comes to my mind when I think about a movie that I want to watch over and over again. And every time I watch it, I learn something new.
Yeah.
It's about Mombasa or something about being, taking charge of your life. I always learn something new, which is why in Build Your Fan Club, I stress a lot on the basics and the foundation. And because I stress so much, and of course, I do have the advanced stuff in there, but a lot of seasoned coaches like you, some of them just ask me, hey, can I skip the basics part? And I come in and I want to remind them through this video that we are creating right now, that it's absolutely important for you to do the basics, because especially when you've been in the industry, copywriting, marketing, storytelling is such an overused phrase that people always make you chase the next thing. They'll always make you chase some technique, some formula, some kind of template that you need to follow to get clients, generate leads. But you don't ever have to do that. There is no formula. If you know the basics, you create your own formula. And with Build Your Fan Club, I teach you to create your own formula. I don't hand you, a formula like X plus Y is equal to A plus B, like algebra we learned in school. I don't teach you algebra with copywriting. Sadly, people try to teach algebra with copywriting and marketing, and that's not how it works with something so creative like writing, which is why I am so happy what you said. With the basics, if you are someone who feels you're creatively blocked right now, maybe try exploring the basics again and see what is coming up there.
I know for me, I learned this from somebody else, but I think it was reinforced with you in this program, is that if you're not reconnecting to your audience on a regular basis, you're going to be out of touch. So you got to stay current with what they're feeling and what's going on and what's happening in their worlds. And doing that market research is such an important part. And when you do it right, you almost get months of social media content and months of ideas for live videos, for emails. All you got to do is ask your people questions and really listen. And I know that's part of what you do with market research, is making sure you're tuning into that. And it's not just, like you said, it's not a one and done. You got to keep going back to it.
This reminds me, Jamie, when we were doing the audience research part in Build Your Fan Club, you specifically told me this thing that I make everyone write at least 3 to 4 ideal client avatars. And you said that was something very unique, because everyone just makes you write one ideal client avatar and something, again, in a very formula, templatized way, like location, demographics, age, income range. Are they female or male? Do they have kids? Are they single? And that is just not the way to know your ideal client. Especially as a coach, you work with your clients' emotions. So you have to understand their emotions. And when I made everyone, including you, write ideal client in a story format, like write a story. How is your client feeling after coming back from office? When they sit on their couch after coming back from office, what are the thoughts running in their mind? How are they feeling? And you wrote about it, and it was a very beautiful piece. You wrote, I think, 3 of them, if I remember well. And you told me, Devika, this is so unique. No one ever made me write ideal client avatar in a story format. Everyone has, normally people make it right in, demographics, or I don't know what all terms people throw these days, sociographics, demographics, whatnot. Doesn't matter at all.
Well, it's like, what does your ideal client look like? Okay. Okay. Brown hair, blonde hair, blue eyes. I mean, but it's yes, we need to have a visual of our ideal client because it makes writing to them easier. It makes going live to them easier, but that's not what moves the needle. What moves the needle is when you can get into here about your client. Yeah. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are they worrying about? What do they want? What are their dreams? That's the important stuff.
Yeah, the visual could be the story of their lifestyle. Like we just talked about how your ideal client has just come back from office. They're sitting on a couch and they're thinking about their whole day. They're reflecting on their life. And that is such a visual thing to write in a story format. You don't need to know if they have black hair, blue hair. So blue hair is a thing.
Pink hair, whatever.
Yeah. Why not? So this is something I remember you told me during Build Your Fan Club, which is something I just realized. I didn't realize it before, but I just realized this is something, again, how I approach audience research through even doing that through story format, because I feel stories are easy to remember. Your brain as a human being, you're wired to remember stories, be connected with stories. So why not just use it in your marketing everywhere and make it for yourself and for your clients?
Yes, I totally agree. Totally agree. It's like we were talking about earlier with the basics. Oftentimes, if you assume, and granted, it depends on what programs you've taken in the past. Who did you learn ideal client from in the past, right? Well, if you learned to define your ideal client as how old are they? How much money do they make? This new approach from learning this new approach from you is going to blow your mind. It's going to totally change and totally transform how you think about that ideal client. So yeah, it's an important part.
And would you like to say, Jamie, everything that you learned in Build Your Fan Club is applicable to all these pivots you make in your business? Like earlier you said you're doing video coaching and now you want to step into business coaching. Do you think that is applicable to all of these forms of coaching, or it's just something very specific?
No, I think it applies to anybody. I think that's what's so important about it. Like we've been talking about, back to the basics. It's one of those fundamental skills that everybody needs to know how to do. And no matter where you go with your business, you now have that, once you take Build Your Fan Club, you will have that knowledge, and you'll be able to pivot along with it so that it, I saw a post the other day on social media that said, I don't want to be in the same place a year from now as I am right now. And I commented to that because it was a friend of mine, and I commented and I said, I don't want to be in the same place next quarter. We need to be always evolving and always moving and with where our clients go. But this skill is something that you need no matter where you're going to go. You're always going to have to write emails. You're always going to have copy on your website. It's just, you're going to have it. And your choice is either you can learn to do it and then you can apply it in all of those other places from now until forever, or you can constantly keep paying somebody and hiring them to do it.
Yes. And I feel like if you do want to hire people and outsource it, you can, but you first need to know the basics yourself. How can you hire out someone without you knowing, as a CEO, the basics of your own company, the basics of your brand copy, brand messaging, brand story? You as a CEO has to do that foundational work of your messaging, of your copywriting, and then you outsource it. It's fine. But I really feel no matter how much money you make, no matter how many years you've been in the industry, you should know your basics in terms of brand messaging, brand copywriting, and then outsource it, because otherwise no one can help you. They're again your supporters, not the builders of your company. You are the builder of your company as a CEO.
Yeah. Well, you're just going to feel so much more empowered and in control of your own business when you know. Yes, you can outsource it, but you now know what you're looking for. You now know what direction to give them. You now know what to check in because you've done that work yourself. It's an important skill not only to learn if you're going to write your own copy, but it's an important skill to learn if you're going to hire somebody to write your copy. I still hire a copywriter from time to time. Usually it's because I've got too much going on, or I'm up against a deadline, or I just need help. But I can now articulate to them who my ideal client is and what the message is and what I want to say. And that's all stuff I learned in your course. So.
Oh, thank you. And this is exactly what my intention with Build Your Fan Club is. I want to give it as a tool to every coach to use forever in their business.
Forever.
Once, forever. No matter how many pivots you make, no matter even if you change your coaching niche, your ideal audience, or your offers, you can still apply this as a tool everywhere in your coaching business.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Evergreen. So, Jamie, what advice would you like to give anyone, any coach watching us here, and maybe they're on the fence, or they don't know if they are the right fit, or if Build Your Fan Club is the right fit for them? Any advice or anything you would like to tell them?
I know you were going to ask me that question, and I've been trying to think in the back of my mind, like, how do you give like one piece of advice? There's so much pressure in that. I only get, but here's what I would say. I think while Devika is going to give you a roadmap, I don't even know if that's the right word, but that's what's coming to me, is like, here's the roadmap for how you write emails and how you tell stories and how you do all of that. You still have her as your coach. You still have group coaching calls. If you upgrade to her VIP, you have one-on-one calls. And what I've always found in Devika is that she's able to help you apply it, make it fit to you. And that's always been my struggle. Anytime I buy a course, is that it's like so much of it resonates, but it's like, how do I make it me? How do I turn it into what works for me? And that's the beauty of your coaching, is that you help people navigate through that. And you're great at answering questions. I mean, I can remember asking you questions about, I know this isn't email, but I'm question about something else. And you're there to serve your people during this 6-week program and beyond, because they get access beyond 6 weeks, right? Isn't that how yeah. And that, I mean, sometimes that alone is worth the money that you pay, is just having access to Devika, to the person who gets this better than anybody else that I know, that can help you answer questions, guide you, or give you like an alternate way of thinking about things. Devika is herself a great storyteller. And so there have been many times where I'm like, I don't know, Devika, I'm not getting this. And she'll say, okay, let me tell you. And she'll tell me this story. And I'll have no idea where it's going to connect, but I know that it's going to come around and connect. And that's when the light bulbs go off. And so she's just really good at helping. She actually applies what she's teaching. And so her methods, her way of making you feel like she's in your corner. She's got your back. She's going to help you figure this out. I mean, it's very hard to find coaches that do that anymore. And Devika's one of the good ones.
Oh my God.
Was that good? Did I pick good? Did I pick a good advice answer?
I don't know, but I'm so touched. Like, I feel like, what did I do to deserve you?
Well, it's true. Oh, it's true.
I feel this is now becoming less of an interview, but more of where I'm boosting my confidence because all of this stuff that you're telling me, which I'm so grateful for. And this is why I love these calls, because so many times we miss out on things that we may be aware about. It's our blind spot. Like some things that I may know this is my edge in my program, but I don't see it. And you help me see it as alumni, which is why I value these interviews so much, where it's not really like a testimonial or interview. It's more like fireside chat where you and I are talking about our experience, about our relationship that we built during the program, after the program, what kind of relationship do we have? Because so many coaches I see, and I'm not like singling out coaches or,
no.
But it's been my personal experience where once the program gets over, the coaches are not in touch with the students. That's not me. I don't like doing that. I feel the relationship is very important. And you did Build Your Fun Club in 2021. And we're still in connection. We're still bouncing off ideas with each other, business ideas with each other. And that's the relationship I value with all of my students.
Yeah.